Well, this afternoon, let's start with our sharp focus on the Sogah Bridge. There's danger on Ghana's longest bridge, the Sogah Bridge, as commuters are attacked and in some cases, vehicles knocked off due to darkness on more than 600-meter stretch of the road. Now, the 650-meter long bridge on the N1 highway was tagged last year as a security zone by the Volta Regional Security Council after a secessionist group threatened to take over the bridge. However, JoyNews investigations revealed that the deployment of military men to the area has not been addressed, and also there are more concerns about public safety, particularly as there is an entire blackout on that bridge. In a yet-to-be-aired report, I put a spotlight on the lower Volta Bridge, also known as the Sogah Bridge. Here are excerpts. Well, so we are here on the lower Volta Bridge. It's popularly called the Sogah Bridge. And for those of you who are not aware of this piece of critical infrastructure, it's a bridge that links and connects the national capital, Accra, to the southern parts of the Volta region. This very infrastructure we are talking about has been under threat by secessionist group Western Togoland, which earlier last year threatened to attack this bridge, and hence that prompted the deployment of a military contingent to constantly supply security to the area. However, one piece is missing out of that puzzle in solving the problem. There's completely no light here, and it's blackout here in the evening, and this has been the case for the past 5 years on the 600-meter stretch, which has seen many cars, many vehicles, many individuals, and many revelers use. And it's beginning to become a concern for residents here in Sogah. For those of you who are not aware of the area, it's in the southern parts of the Volta region, and where we are now stretches all throughout into the town itself. But you can come with me just to have a feel of how people with us here walking and using this area do not have any access to lights. They do not know what's in the dark out there, and you can just come along with me to have a feel of what's happening here. So there are some railings here. Initially, we understand that these railings never used to be, and in fact some cars used to veer off the road into the river, but that has been addressed. What's the bigger problem here is that these cars that you see pass by could just run into anybody because there's simply no street light here on this critical piece of stretch. And it's the same story, if you could just come with me, throughout the whole 600-meter, and residents are calling for action. In fact, let's speak to some of the residents and try and understand what their concerns are, particularly as there are growing reports of cars knocking down individuals on this piece of stretch, and also the accompanying concern about security.
Seriously, this bridge, I think without this bridge, it will be very difficult for cars to be going in and out. Yeah, because this serves as a very highway. Without here, you can go to Aflao, Ho, Hohwe, Menshi, and Pando, you can go there. It's only this bridge that connects everybody to that place. So I think the way there is darkness here, I think when we are even walking, you are afraid. You can get, so even when cars incidentally when they were even passing mistakenly, they even fall inside the bridge for some time ago. But before the letter came and do this. And then I think light is very important to be here because it is very dangerous to be walking in the dark on the river. So you can easily get attacked. Even cars can just stop and then just attack you, put you inside without anybody's knowledge about it. So I think if light is here, everybody can live in peace or without any fear moving on the bridge.
When you went to Atipoku, that bridge is just something small. But look at how they did it. Look at how they did it. And this is the longest one. And Atipoku is not ECOWAS road. And this one is ECOWAS road. I think the government to do something about it. And I know that the ECOWAS president is our president.
Right. That's Nanado.
Nanado. I think he can do something about this one. He can do something about it. He can do something about it. We need a light on the bridge though. They should repair the bridge very well. When you sweep door around 4 going and a big car has passed this bridge though, you can hear it.
You can feel it?
You can feel it on the bed that
it shake.
It shake. And even though when you are in your room, yeah, when you are in your room, you feel it.
Feel it?
You feel
How
it.
do you feel it?
You feel it that the ground is shaking.
How does it shake?
It's shake like how it's shake, something like that. You will feel it.
Except of that special report, which is yet to be heard here on the Joy News channel. In fact, there's a lot of reaction already greeting what we have put out there. But this is not the first time Joy News is putting a spotlight on the lower Volta Bridge. In fact, about 3 years ago, my colleague Maxwell Agbagba was at the same spot where, of course, there was a similar incident, particularly an accident that occurred between one of the motorists and also an Okada rider. We have that report for you. We can just watch briefly the excerpts and then we'll speak to the Ghana Highway Authority on what they're doing about the situation. We'll bring that to you shortly, but this is a good time for us to try and get everything in perspective. Why has this problem persisted for far too long? In fact, you heard that from residents indicating that the lower Volta Bridge has been in this situation for the past 5 years. And for those of you who don't get a clear picture, what we need to tell you is that the lower bridge is just similar to the Adomi Bridge. For those of you who've used that stretch, you see that at night there's lighting on that particular stretch. However, the case is different, just as we've indicated to you in the report. They're on the lower side of the bridge. So what's the Ghana Highways Authority doing about this? Joining me in studio now is Cecil Bodai Wentum, Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Highway Authority. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. It's good to be talking to you at this moment. Let's start off from the genesis. Where did this problem start from? The fact that we're not having street lights on such a critical piece of infrastructure.
Well, I am happy for this moment and also happy to use this opportunity to also share a word from the Ghana Highway Authority. I'm happy as a responsible media outlet, you have taken it upon yourself to channel the concerns of residents or commuters on that stretch. Yes, but when you speak to the engineers, they will tell you that sometimes maintenance issues necessarily will not deal, especially when there are no budgets in place. But for instance, when there are some developmental projects and there's the need to recognize some of these concerns you've talked about, that is where we move in. But I can understand from the picture and from the videos that you showed that obviously if you're traveling on that stretch at night, road safety becomes a concern for all of us. And my checks from the road safety division before I moved to your studio indicated that our team of engineers have been there. They have assessed the situation not long ago, just as you pointed out to me in our earlier discussion. And they even went to the contractor, they have assessed the situation, and the processes will start. Okay, so as it were to
contract has been awarded?
No, I can't authoritatively say contract has been awarded, but the situation has been assessed. And once the engineers have assessed the situation, they will go with technical team, and amongst the technical team probably are 1 or 2 people who can also provide additional inputs. They can be contractors, they can be consultants, all put together. So that has been done, and I can assure you that in no time the processes will start. And the processes again is not instant, is not immediate, because you would have to go through procurement processes. And when you trigger the process, the channels you would have to go through and all that. In situations where it becomes an emergency, that one, instantly something will be done. But as far as the bridge is concerned, I have not heard from any of our engineers telling me that it is in a dangerous situation, as sometimes people will put it. You remember not too long ago, a similar publication was put out there, especially on social media, about the Adomi Bridge. And so much noise was made. I can tell you for a fact, when you speak to our engineers, they will tell you that the bridge, the vibrations that people talk about is within the acceptable limits. You understand? So it is, and don't forget, Adomi is hanging on strings. So it's obvious that definitely, as and when vehicles move, and the continuous movement will bring about some of those vibrations and all that, but it is within an acceptable.
So you're saying that's a similar thing that's happening?
Yes, they have done their assessment. I spoke to two of our bridge engineers. They've been there, they've done the assessments. They spoke about the expansion joints that one of the gentlemen you spoke to was talking about. I mean, of course, they have to be replaced. But as I said, it also boils down to funding. And it does not raise so much concern regarding emergency.
But I guess it's a matter of public
No,
safety.
it is.
You agree?
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with Bless. I agree with you.
Okay.
It's a matter of public safety. It's a matter of concern for us as well. And let me reiterate the point again. I spoke to the director, road safety, before coming here. And he's indicated. I was even with him when he called one of his managers who came to me to confirm that, yes, indeed, they were on the stretch. As you told me, they were on the stretch and they had done the assessment and they'll be working on.
Okay, why not shut the bridge to allow repair to take place? Because just as we pointed out, some of the railings are obsolete, and there'll be a need for some new structures to be put in place now. So are you considering that? Are you putting that on the table?
I can't speak authoritatively about that because our conversation has not gotten to that point that we will shut down the bridge. And don't forget that it's a major connector and it's a major highway like you indicated. I mean, so shutting it down obviously will mean we're bringing a lot of distress to commuters. We'll bring a lot of problems to those who ply the stretch of road. But as it stands, it is not a serious matter. It is not a serious situation as people are putting it out there. Sometimes we must also understand the way people speak. And I remember when this Adomi Bridge issue came up.
But this is about the lower bridge, right?
I know, but I mean, and just as we have done major assessment on all our bridges, and my engineers have told me that this exercise is not only on the Sogah Bridge, on all our bridges. And if you get to appreciate our bridge programs that we have, you will know that there is some serious work going on. And all those bridges you see have lifespans, just as every engineering design takes into consideration lifespan.
So taking into account the lifespan
and
of the
most of those bridges,
most
of those bridges, especially the Adomi, they've been designed to be there for 100 years.
Okay, I get the point. But taking into account what's happening on the Sogah stretch, how long can you go without repairs? I guess that's of concern because now it's evident.
From the conversation I had with my engineers this afternoon before coming here, it is something which is work in progress. If I could.
Yes, but how long can you go without repairs or maintenance or whatever?
I cannot give a definite period how long we can go. But again, it depends on the kind of conversation they have with me and to tell me, then I can inform the public how long we can go without repairs. But as I speak, I'm telling you, it is not a very bad situation.
You're sure about that?
Yeah, if it's about the lighting, fine, I understand because I just watched the pictures.
Right.
In fact, the videos, I saw it myself and I know, obviously, when you drive in the night and you come across such, even let's assume there's a vehicle broken down on that stretch and the vehicle probably has no, triangle to warn oncoming or approaching vehicles. You can imagine how it will feel. And this is a situation where we have a lot of such broken down vehicles without it. They put leaves, sometimes blocks, lorry ties to warn approaching vehicles. It is wrong. Rather, I would suggest that we should partner the police, the law enforcement people, the patrol people, so that they will regularly be on that stretch to provide some kind of safety, temporary one, whilst we do the engineering thing behind, the doors.
Okay, now from what the residents are telling us, it's not as though street lights were not or have never been on the stretch. They were there, right? And you've taken tolls on that particular stretch for quite some time now. Where is the money? Where are you keeping the money? And why are you not using the road tolls to redevelop the same stretch that you've collected funds on?
I wish you would not, you had not mentioned this tolls business because it will lead into something else. But you know that the tolls are collected, it goes into a particular fund.
Yeah,
and
but it's for a specific purpose. You agree that
GHA does not have direct access to that fund.
Really?
Yes, we don't.
But you're in control of the funds.
We don't control the fund.
But you collect the funds.
No, but we collect on behalf of government.
Right.
This is
and you've collected something over the years. You agree?
No. So you see, the road fund is a fund on its own.
Right.
It has a board. It has technical people who work. So money goes there.
Right.
And then if I need money from you, you are my father. I can't go into your pocket like that. I would have to ask you first. I apply. So there are processes. So you see, in the past, we will have some emergency fund sitting somewhere. But look, we called for the procurement law. We called for some of these regulations so that it brings checks and balance into the system where we are all operating.
Is it a
so
matter?
That it will not be a situation where
is it a matter of checks and balance, or you're simply broke and you can't fix the breach?
No. So the point is that I can't say GHA is broke because we don't control the fund.
You're basically telling me you don't have the
No,
fund.
we don't control the fund.
Right, but you've taken some money on that particular
government
stretch.
has taken, yes.
Yeah. But it's for a purpose, right?
It is for a purpose.
Backed by law, backed by law as well.
So I've just told you that we have triggered.
When was the last time you applied for this fund?
You mean to fix the Sogah breach? No, I can't speak authoritatively to that point.
So you haven't done that? It appears it's not a priority for you.
No, the conversation I had with my director, road safety, indicated that assessment has been done.
Yes.
Weeks
but
ago.
you haven't applied for the funds
so
to use.
They have triggered the process. What it means is that we have an authority. We are an authority, but we report to a ministry. So obviously, the process I'm talking about is that you will have to write to the appropriate authority.
You are now going to do that. So you agree
it's been done. I'm sure.
So you agree with me that you've not done
No,
it?
I'm not saying
you've neglected your duties. You've
No.
not done that as an authority.
You are becoming very authoritative with your position that we have neglected. No, we have not.
Yeah, but that's what you're supposed to be doing.
So the point, let me tell you, every region has a regional engineer and they report to headquarters. They send their reports on a daily basis. I can assure you there's no problem that GHA is not aware of across the 16 regions of this country. There's no problem that the ministry is not aware of across the 16 regions of this country. We are aware of every problem on every road.
And yet,
no. So you see, just as I said, the bag can be so big to contain a lot of. The kitty sometimes can be small.
But so you're just being diplomatic about this. You have two options: either to concede that you've been negligent on that, or you don't have the funds to repair.
Know what would have happened, Blessed, if we have been negligent for a minute?
But you've done that over the past 5 years.
There will be disaster.
People have died on that stretch. Accidents have happened. You agree?
It is not because the bridge is not in a good condition.
But you don't have lights there. I mean, by all standards, if you look at the Ghana Highways Authority, you exercise Highway Authority, you exercise some jurisdiction over that particular stretch. As part of the standards requirement and going by whatever it is that the Ghana Standards Authority would also say in that regard, it's clear that without the street lights, we cannot pass. You cannot pass the test of saying that bridge is safe for persons to use. You agree?
No, let me use this opportunity.
You've not met the standards, have you?
Standards. You see, we have a mandate. Our mandate is to fix the road. Okay.
Not just the road, ensure safety, right?
Administer and do administration.
Precisely.
Work. Good. So
You've not met the standard.
No. I'll come. I'll tell you. I'll explain to you. I hear people call me sometimes and say that there's no light on this road. Fine. I agree. But there's one bit people also do not understand. And I will use this opportunity to explain to you so that you, as a media person, me as a media person, we educate the folks, our brothers, to understand. There's something called functional integration. We need to work together, so collaboratively with other ministries. So when you talk about light, who do you think it falls under? Energy, right?
But you're supposed to draw their attention. You're supposed to draw their attention. In fact, what you're doing now is running away from your duty, what you're supposed to be doing.
Me now, bless. Everybody listening to me now knows what I am saying. So we're supposed to work with the Ministry of Energy. In some of these cases, they have to provide the power.
They are not doing
the energy, yes. So when I get calls from people and they say, oh, this road is not, no.
But Cecil, you're just making my point because you told me that the last time you applied,
yes.
In fact, it's clear that you haven't even applied for it yet. The last time you asked for funding to deal with that,
I didn't say that.
Has not happened until recently. That's what you're telling us now.
The viewers got me.
Yeah. Right. So no, but the point is, you're telling us
that way.
When was the last time you? Because per the procedure, you're supposed to notify the sector agencies. When was the last time you did that?
We have a maintenance schedule we run.
When was the last time you did that?
And we have budgets specifically for maintenance issues. You understand? And so, if you say when was the last time, I mean...
Yeah, but it will be critical in providing context, because the last time we were there was about 3 years ago. Residents say this issue has spanned 5 years. 5 good years, and many people have died on that particular stretch.
No, if it's about the street light again, I think I've made or given
There's darkness,
enough
you agree.
explanation.
You agree.
It is not solely our responsibility, but we must also pull along. So after speaking to me, make efforts, find out from Ministry of Energy, yes, what's their role to make sure that that section is...
But the bridge belongs to you, you agree. Now,
as for that one,
I've been to the area, I've done some background checks. It appears that on a number of occasions, some of your reports accept the fact that that bridge has some defects and ought to be fixed. What do you say to that?
If you're talking about the expansion joints that the gentleman spoke about, I've just told you that we have done some assessment. And I don't think it was only recently that assessment was done. But the situation is not as bad as it's been put out there. If it's as bad as it's been put out there, I can assure you that our engineers or team of engineers, I know how hardworking they are. And every now and then they are in the field. They would have dealt with this issue. But it's not as bad as it is. And I cited Adomi as an example, that when somebody put out a story that the bridge was shaking, there was so much fear and panic. If you remember, those who followed that story, even traditional media picked up the story and ran with it. But that was not the situation. And I've explained to you that, speaking to the engineers, they will tell you, I mean, those vibrations are within acceptable limits. So it does not take away the design life of the bridge as it is. It does not take away the design nature of the bridge as it is. It is only for us to re-echo the point that those vibrations are necessary. Those vibrations are within acceptable limits. Whatever defects have been found on that stretch, I am telling you that they will be fixed.
Okay. Give us timelines, because obviously there are so many people out there watching us who come from this area. In fact, a lot of people use that stretch. You agree of how busy the network is. Give us timelines on that.
I cannot speak for the road safety people, but the conversation I had with them indicates that as soon as possible, they're going to get to this. So let's see what happens. I mean, it will be soon, I can assure you. It will be soon.
We need to do this briefly. Clearly, I understand that Maxwell Agbegba was there about 3 or 4 years ago. Let's just watch that briefly, and then we'll get some more reactions on that.
From a radio set on the compound of Alice Ayiku at Tefle in the Volta region, the small radio set has become her companion after she lost her 30-year-old son, Ebenezer Tonyeva, on the Sogah Copper Bridge. As music is food to the soul, around this time, she sits on a compound to feed her depressed soul with some bobo music. It was around 12 a.m. on the 8th September 2017. Ebenezer was returning from an all-night service in his church. His motor rider tried to veer off from the defect on the poorly lit bridge. He crashed into an oncoming vehicle. The episode is still fresh in the mind of his mother.
He has 3 children and they are all in school. He was the one who used to provide all my needs. It's so hard to feed myself now. Sometimes I feel like committing suicide. Today, I cried for hours on the community school park. His death has worried me.
Well, excepts there. So we need to go, but so that's clear evidence for you, indicating how on a daily basis people are being affected.
Yeah.
What's your final word as we wrap up on this conversation?
I'm sad to hear this story, but it also goes to tell all of us that, you know, sometimes on the road we must also exercise extreme caution and consider safety issues, even if they are not there. But bless, you know, even on our routes, when we have provided the safety accessories, what do people do? We've provided caution notes for people to even adhere to road speed regulations. What do you find people do? They go beyond. They drive You know, I don't understand as sometimes people even deliberately go and chop off some of these road signs, take out all the various accessories. Now, are you aware that even on some of our bridges, people even wake up in the middle of the night and go and remove bolts and nuts?
Really?
Yes. Then we are the same people, we turn around. And then when there's problems, so on daily basis, our engineers are on the road. I'm telling you, we also drive. We don't live in isolation, or we don't operate in silos. We also move along. I mean, the stretches, and we know if you find some of those compost bridges within the urban centers, and I tell you what is happening, you will be shocked. Not too long ago, we visited one of the places around 18 Junction. There's a bridge that connects the abattoir into Spintex, that area. If you know that bridge there, go and find out the number of bolts and nuts that have been removed.
People are
by
selling
Ghanaians.
them.
Yes, they go and scrap them and they sell them. People see them. You understand? So these things, we must all be vigilant, and then we report issues. And I'm happy what you guys are doing. Keep it up. As and when you need our input, we'll be available to share them.
But for timelines?
You're still insisting on those.
Yes, I need timelines, obviously.
I've just informed you. I'm sure I'll be back in no time, and we'll be talking about the success story as far as this is concerned in no time, and I mean it.
Cecil, I'm grateful
Thank you
that
so
you've
much,
been able
Bless.
to join
Thank
us.
you.
Now, the Ghana Bar Association is expressing worry about what it actually describes as increasing an upsurge in armed robbery cases and also violent crimes across the country. Now, according to the group, the security agencies would have to act immediately to reverse the trend of insecurity across the country. The latest demand from the Bar Association follows the murder of an Accra-based lawyer, Richard Bandobia, who was shot dead on the Bolibamboy Highway when he was embarking on a journey from Accra to Jirapa in the Upper West region. Already 3 suspects have been picked up, including a Beninois and a Malian, who have been accused by the police service as part of being, that syndicate that committed the crime. We can now listen to the Savannah Regional Police PRO Inspector Jekum Owusu, who's been giving further explanations on the latest matter.
Now, of some arrests that your effort has made, let me say congratulations. So, can you either confirm or otherwise about what we are hearing concerning some arrests?
Thank you. After the incident that was on the Saturday dawn, the whole command, the Savannah Regional Command, moved to the scene, and with the help of the intelligence unit of the region, we've been able to round up some 3 suspects, which we are profiling to see if they are the actual culprits.
But on what grounds were these 3 rounded up? Because there are a lot of people in that community so far as a crime is concerned. Why were they 3 rounded up? And are they the only number you are looking for, or you have a target?
We have a target for about 5. And this, you see, some people commit crimes and leave some traces. And as I said, with the help of the intelligence unit, we've been able to get this 3, which we are still manhunting for other 2.
We are equally picking inside information that one of the 3 is a Benin national. Can you confirm or deny that?
One's investigation is still ongoing, and 2 are still outside that we want to get them. We would like to hide certain things. After we profile them and we get a substantive information or material, we will let you know.
Okay. Yesterday, you were talking about the nature of the road and network and what have you. We all know how that place is. But going forward, what do you think should be the way forward?
As per the road, we police cannot do anything about it, but it's purely the work of the government or the higher authorities. So we are augmenting our strength at that particular place. We are going to also erect or establish other snap checks to make it very visible police presence.
Where were your officers at the time the crime happened? Because Noiri, I learned you have a checkpoint there, and there's always police visibility there. As at 5:30 a.m., it's supposed to be 24-hour surveillance or patrol. Where were they?
Yes, as you said, 24-hour patrol. If somebody start a work Friday morning till Saturday morning, tiredness will set in. Going to, and even the police at that time were not far away from the incident, but it is only they have to patrol, so they move from one point to the other.
So that's the latest on the matter. Meanwhile, the Ghana Bar Association says it has noticed a worrying trend of an upsurge in armed robbery attacks across the country. Let's bring you excerpts of their concerns and then quickly talk to the Ghana Bar Association. While the Ghana Bar Association says it has noted with grave concern an upsurge in armed robbery and other violent crimes in the country. Now, the most recent of these violent attacks occurred on Sunday, which is that's the case that you've heard of right there, the police giving some updates on. Now, the Ghana Bar Association says that it would want to, first of all, commiserate with the families and colleagues of Richard Bandobia and families of all persons who've lost their lives as a result of armed robberies and other violent crimes. But then the Ghana Bar Association says, with particular reference to the incident that we're talking about, it is imploring the relevant security agencies to carry out swift and thorough investigations of the incident in order to identify the perpetrators of this heinous crime and make them face the full rigors of the law. Beyond that as well, the Ghana Bar Association says it is urging the general public to volunteer information to the security agencies to enable them thoroughly investigate the matter with a view of identifying the perpetrators of the crime and making them suffer the consequences of their actions. Well, they're also placing a 20,000 Ghana cedis bounty on anyone who would help with the investigation. So why is the Ghana Bar Association concerned about this? Fortunately, we've been joined now by Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Bar Association, Xavier Kuja, who's joining us via Zoom. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Why is the GBA concerned now, especially when many say you should have commented on this matter for some time now? You've been silent.
You mean the incident of Saturday?
Yes, you are now concerned that there's an upsurge in robbery across the country. But then you're laying that and pointing that to what happened over the weekend.
Thank you for the opportunity. We've always issued statements about violent crimes, particularly armed robberies. I can let you check from 2015 to date. We've always issued statements. And you know, many things happen at different times. And you must always you can take action at a point in time, and that is what exactly we've done. It is not as if because one of ours was involved. No, if you look at the tenor of the statement, it's a general statement, just doesn't make particular reference to that a peculiar incident on Saturday. Hello?
With you. So, given this account, what then do you feel should be the way forward?
Your question again?
Yes, I'm asking about the way forward, how you intend that as a group we should be dealing with the matter.
Well, we are not security agencies. We can only cooperate with the security agencies and also solicit the support and the support of other agencies or sister agencies and the public to help the security agencies, because the 20,000 that we didn't put there is not for lawyers, or the information it's asking for is not for it's for members of the public and not lawyers. The information should be directed to the police, not lawyer. If you're able to identify a lawyer and give it to the lawyer, of course, will do the needful by forwarding to the security agencies. But what we're saying is that we encourage everybody in this country, because security is a matter of concern to all of us, to as much as possible volunteer information on every crime, not only this one. We are only using this one as an example. So going forward, that is what we can do, because we are not security experts.
In the meantime, we understand that you're also engaging family of the late lawyer. Have you spoken to them already? And What sense do you get generally from this family?
Well, bless, we've not done that yet. We're likely to do that tomorrow. We may be visiting the office, and then later they will lead us to the home of our late colleague.
Generally, is there any connection or nexus between what's happening now in terms of an upsurge in armed robbery to the legal system itself? The belief is we can't delink what's happening, and that there's a need for us to reform our entire legal and criminal prosecution system. What's your take on that?
Well, there may be the need for a reform, but I'm not an expert to say that there's a nexus between the upsurge and the criminal legal system. I think the security experts or those criminologists will be able to do that. I'm a lawyer. I'm just a practitioner. I cannot stick my neck out to say that I've been able to establish a nexus between the upsurge in crime and the criminal legal system as we have it now.
Okay, but finally, for the Ghana Bar Association, is there any petition or perhaps some write-ups that we'll be expecting from you to, for instance, the security agencies, the IGP and other agencies to try and deal with this matter? Are we likely to see that in the coming days?
Well, as we indicated, we are ready to support. That is why we even offered that amount of money as reward for anybody who may volunteer information on the crime. And if you get to know, we've been collaborating with the security agencies all this while. That is why even come 30th of June, when we're going to our Marketers Day, we intend to invite the security couples, especially the IGP and the Chief of Defense, to be part of us. That is part of the collaboration that we've been doing. And we've always paid courteous calls on them to know the role that they expect us to play as lawyers. And they've also always indicated to us the expectations that they have of us as lawyers.
And I guess the concern should not just be about lawyers, but also the bench as well, ensuring their security and security for, by extension, your officers and persons who work within the judicial system. How urgent?
That concern is for all people living within the borders of Ghana. Whether you're a Ghanaian or a foreigner, once you live within Ghana, you must feel safe, and you shouldn't have any shred of insecurity around you when you're dealing with your daily day-to-day activities. So it's not only about the legal fraternity and the bench, but it should be for generality of guidance. That is what we're talking about. We're not singling out ourselves. That's not about it.
And very recently, the National Security Minister, for instance, engaged the judges of the Superior Court and some officers of the judiciary. It's clear that there's an imminent need for the courts to open up and be more transparent, so more and more people appreciate the processes and then don't get frustrated and vent their anger attacking lawyers and other officers of the courts. What's your take on that as well?
I think that is a good move or a good suggestion, but we must be very cautious as to how we do it. If you remember at the bench bar, our media conference, the Attorney General suggested that it's high time we opened up the court for cases that he described as the case of public interest to be aired publicly. And when I was interviewed, my position was that, of course, first and foremost, we must define what constitutes cases of or a case of public interest. You know, in court proceedings, a lot of things happen. Some of them are not meant for public consumption, because a judge may be trying a case and just pass a comment, which is not part of the records. That is why you always must apply for what we call the certified true copy of the records of the court. No matter the records you have as a lawyer, as a litigant, the only record known to the court and recognized and deemed to be legitimate is that of the court. So, well, we with regards to the National Security Minister meeting the judges, of course, National Security Minister and his team also met with the lawyers on the national security strategy. The essence of that meeting, I believe, same for the judges, was to let them know the role expected of them as far as the implementation of the national security strategy is concerned.
Okay, now I thought that would have been the last one, but then all of this is flowing up from the attack on your member, Mr. Bandobia, who we are learning of now. There's the confirmed dead as a result of the attacks. Now, do we know what kind of a lawyer he was, and how he contributed, for instance, to the development of the Ghana Bar Association?
Well, he was a member in good standing, and he was called to the bar in 2016, I'm told. And I can't describe him as a hardworking lawyer because having been called to the bar only in 2016 and managed to form partnership with other lawyers, I think that he must be a good lawyer. And I've spoken to a few classmates. I was told he was a calm person, but very brilliant.
Anyway, it's sad that we've lost him, but we'll see what the Ghana Police Service will do about this. You're offering 20,000 Manti, right?
Exactly so.
We'll see if that will help in the process, but we're grateful that you've been able to spend some time with us here on The Pulse. Now, it's been an eventful weekend for the governing New Patriotic Party, which went to the polls to elect its regional executives. As usual, the polls were fraught with allegations of vote buying and drama. We'll raise some of these incidents shortly with you, with some of the election watchers as well and experts. But first, let's take a recap of how the polls turned out in the Ashanti region, where a number of these allegations were the loudest. Incumbent Bernard Entry Bosiako, popularly known as Chairman Wuntumi, was retained in that elections. Nana Yaujima has the rest of the story.
Look at my flyer. Organized and I lost. International Yanko, we lose. And I lost.
The election of regional executive was marred by controversies as voting was suspended twice over an unresolved election register. The atmosphere remained tensed when the two leading aspirants protested decisions of the regional election committee chaired by Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah.
If we say that they are not going to, and I'm saying,
Team Wuntumi broke into wild jubilation after the counting of ballots from the first of 4 zones. That commanding lead ran through all the ballots counted from other zones. Bernard Entry-Bosiako says his victory should send a strong signal to the opposition NDC of the party's preparedness to break the 8 with a promise to unite the party.
Adia here for 2024 no aye unity. Mijna minime regional executives nanamu ne ya shebo se obi a wujina ye bia no nya no krese olusu yi ebe de na party papa say o ye campaign na duru ba bia on kasa emfatia e wo musa nya sa na ye pe no ne mum e duru ba bia esen ne katra makra duru ba bia na ka so obi ye bonia for 2024 breaking the 8th sake. My name is regional executive say yedi ache obia. Na dia asie no. Adia asie no. Atrasa MPP. Our campaign of breaking the 8th have started from Baba Yara Stadium. They cannot stop us. NDC, you cannot stop us. You can spread the scandalous name about MPP. You can spread the scandalous name. You can lie. You can propagate. You can bring fake news. But winning the 2024 elections, is movement. It is a movement. It is a movement. It is a movement. It's stronger than Apata.
6 of the 7 incumbent executives retained their seats, with only first vice chair Kwabena Century falling out. 3 new entrants won positions. One of them is Victoria Owusu-Echang, second vice chair elect.
And I thank all MPP members, especially the men. They promised me that today they will make me a queen, and they have done it. This is know that our party, they like gender. I know that many people they are saying that I haven't get anything from the party. So I'll go
and beg them for them to listen to us for the last time, because
for JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
Such an eventful weekend there. Well, the end of this regional executives elections, obviously of the New Patriotic Party, will mean that by the end of July, a gathering of delegates at the national conference will vote to decide who will be the next set of leaders for the governing party at the national level. Already candidates jostling to win the favor of delegates. Ghana's former Deputy Ambassador to China, Dr. Charles Dramina, aka Dr. China, I'm sure that many of you know him that way, says that he will better serve the party as the treasurer. So why is he contesting? He joins us right here in studio. It's good to see you, Ambassador. Join us here on the Pulse.
Thank you.
How have you been?
Me. Very well, very well, by God.
After your tour of duty, you feel more like a civilian now, I guess.
It's always good to be back home.
Right,
it's always good to be home.
And what's interesting is that you're back, but you still want to serve your political party, the NPP. Why did you decide to opt for the national treasurer role, I mean to contest and to be elected as the national treasurer of the New Patriotic Party?
Thank you, Blessed, and a very good afternoon to our cherished viewers. I have said and will always say that, in my personal opinion, in our current political dispensation, it is only an NPP government that can save Ghana and make it prosperous. That could change. It could change in a different dispensation, but currently it is only an NPP government, in my opinion, that can change Ghana.
And that's your opinion?
That's my opinion.
Right.
But for that to happen, we need a stronger party so as to be able to stay in power for at least 4 consecutive terms, because bringing about that kind of change we require as a country cannot be done in a term or two.
Some would say you're learning from China. You've learned so fast from China, so you want to incorporate that into our system. Why allow a political party to stay that long, particularly the NPP?
You see, it's not about calling for dictatorship. It's not about calling for military rule. It's about using the civilian procedures to ensure that a particular party that is able to do better stays in power to at least move us to that stage. It's just like building.
This whole break the eight is not about machinations just to entrench yourself in power. That's not what the NPP is seeking to do.
It's about consolidating the gains. It's just like building a house. If at the foundation stage you get a very good mason who does a very good job, when it gets to the lintel and you get a mediocre mason, the damage wouldn't be so much of a structural damage. But if you don't get a very good mason to lay the foundation, that becomes a problem. If the top is excellent, the foundation will still be weak. So in the same way, I believe that we need an NPP government to stay in power for at least 4 consecutive terms. But for that to happen, we need a stronger party. And in my opinion, and of course in my political experience too, I know that having a stronger party largely relies on the finances of the party.
Obviously.
And I have served in that capacity in the party before going to China. I served as the director in charge of finance and administration. I served both in an opposition period and immediately we came to government. So I know the nuances. So I just decided, well, if that is what will take the party to be able to break the 8 and stay focused, then I'm willing to.
So it appears that you have quite a good appreciation of how the NPP is faring in terms of its financing and how it's doing and readying itself for the 2024 elections. From where you are now, would you say that the NPP has sufficient resources to go into the next elections?
Well, in terms of political campaigning, you will never have sufficient. You will never have enough. You make do with what you have. I mean, when you go to the advanced democracies, those that are able to raise millions and billions for political campaign, they still need more. Yesterday, I was reading an article where former President Trump is raising money over $200,000 a day. I mean, it tells you that you will never have enough in a political environment, especially in our situation. But at least what we have, if you're able to manage it and manage it very well so that the people get to benefit from it, it will be the people that will carry us to victory. So I've always said that election 2024 will not and should not be about a presidential candidate. It should rather be about the party's empowered base. If our members are empowered, Nobody will tell our members, oh, get up, go do campaign. The empowered base, having benefited from programs and policies that the party will roll out that will make them financially stable, will get up themselves and push the agenda forward. That is why in my campaign tour and going up and down, I've made a certain number of proposals. I've said that, first of all, if we want the party to be financially stable in a sustainable manner, then we need to invest in the livelihoods of our people. We need, as a party, use our own resources to empower them. Nothing prevents us from having a program like a business incubation fund that will be operational in all the 275 constituencies. It's going to be the proposal has it as a constituency-based proposal because it would be the duty of the constituency executive members to identify such members in the party who need such support. When we sit in Accra and we talk about empowerment, we often think about putting people in public services, NABCO and government, but in the hinterlands, it's not like that.
And it's good that you're raising this point because over the weekend, there were claims that some candidates were paying for votes. In other words, there was vote buying over the weekend. But I mean, you would tell me, obviously, as a politician, that you don't have evidence to back that. So I wouldn't ask you. So I wouldn't ask you that question. It's fair enough for you to say that. But generally, it's a practice in politics. So what you're bringing on board now partly could address that, isn't it?
Exactly, because you see, the point is, if the people do not get benefits from the party beyond the choboy, beyond what every other Ghanaian gets, then what's the essence of belonging to the party? That is why this proposal has it that we will identify such people, train them, invest in them, and monitor them so that the person who previously was making, say, 500 Ghana cedis a month will now be able to make 3,000 Ghana cedis in his or her village, become so empowered financially. Such a person will be more than willing to contribute a little to support the party at the base. And that will be a more sustainable way of going forward.
The argument is you've served in quite an influential capacity in the past for the New Patriotic Party. Why didn't you change all of these things that you identified? What's going to be different now that you're going to be acting or working if you're endorsed by delegates as the national treasurer of the New Patriotic Party?
Thank you. So in a political journey, there are phases. When you're struggling to come to power, your focus is on getting executive power. At the time I served in an opposition period. We all know how chaotic things were, unfortunately, in our party. We managed to stabilize things. We managed to rally people around. We managed to bring the focus back on the need to secure the mandate of the people of Ghana. And at that period, the focus was clear. Win the elections, start rolling out your programs,
neglect the grassroots
policies. You win the elections with the people. So you do whatever you can.
Yeah, but the point is, you were there, you did not empower these people.
No, you carry the people. So the focus is very important. You cannot, in our local parliament, you can't look into 2 bottles of your eye. You miss the goalpost, right? You miss the goalpost. So you prioritize. And then you do that. And when you get what it is, then you use it to empower the people. Now is the time for us to ensure that we invest in the people, in the livelihoods of our people. We are not only talking about the business incubation fund. I've also made a proposal for the party to utilize part of its own resources to offer scholarship to party members. People often say that, hey, we have NABCO, we have Get Fund, we have the... These are for all Ghanaians, state resources for all Ghanaians, including MPP, NDC, and all non-MPP members. You cannot monopolize it for only MPP members. However, the party, knowing very well that by investing in these people, we will be securing our future, can decide that, look, we are setting aside this amount of money to invest in the education of our members. Now, the person who gets selected at the constituency because he or she is very active will forever be grateful to the party. The next person who didn't get selected because maybe not attending some meetings will immediately start becoming active. And that rippling effect will be felt in the over 30,000 polling stations across the nation. And that is what we're talking about. The masses getting up to move the campaign 2024 forward.
We'll get back to internal affairs. But just on the point you're raising, the Electoral Commission, for instance, last week, raised concerns about how political parties, including the NPP, are not adhering to the Political Parties Act. with regard to auditing and filing whatever returns it is that you need to file with the Electoral Commission. Do you feel that it's a matter of some faults within the law, or it's just the case that duopoly, the NDC and the NPP, you simply don't have regard for the laws? On political financing.
I'm surprised.
It appears you're not obeying the laws.
EC will stand. You've been clothed with all the mandate, all the powers to crack the whip.
But it suits you. I'm not sure you're complaining about it. You're also not complaining.
As far as I'm concerned, MPP is very law abiding. We have all our staffs intact.
Yeah.
If the EC feels that MPP has flouted, come out. Let's
This is a case of you being in your headquarters and say, well, we have it, if you need it, come.
No.
But then you're supposed to take that to the Electoral Commission.
The EC has been given enough powers to do its work. Why stand on the rooftop and shout when you have all the powers in this country to crack the whip? At least take a bold step, take that step, and Ghanaians will back you.
You're daring the EC.
Yeah. I'm saying that as far as I'm concerned, our party is very law abiding. Whatever we need to do, we do. You understand? We don't cut corners. We don't do anything untoward.
Right.
So EC should do his work.
But the and Doc, well, you know how thorny this matter is. So beyond that as well, we know that there's even the issue of even the political cost itself.
Right.
How, for instance, CDD and some other think tanks are telling us that for you to become a member of parliament, you need as much as $400,000. For the presidency, it's almost $1 million and over. That's how much it's costing candidates to even vie for position. Don't you feel that it will affect the quality of leadership that the NDC or the NPP could field going into general elections?
It certainly is something we should all be worried about as Ghanaians. This is at the very heart of democracy, our survival as a nation. And so when I hear people go like, for me, I'm not into politics and all that, I go like, no, you're missing the point. Politics is in your house, even in your home. When you have a number of kids who sits where, it's all about political negotiations in the churches, everywhere. So it's all about being a bit conscious about what our political situation is and following it keenly. We cannot and we should not leave politics to the highest bidder. Unfortunately, that's where we're all heading towards. It cuts across. And that is something we should all come on board and condemn. Because if we don't take care, a time will come very soon where political power will be sold to the highest bidder. And we will not have the quality of personnel we have, or we need to manage political parties who transition into government. You see, when you, recently, I think last week or so, Gimpa and Cass, Conrad, they held a program. They invited me to talk about sustainable political financing in Ghana. And the argument I made forcefully was that for us to have a more sustainable way of financing our political parties, we need to empower our people. We need to invest in them. Because clearly, at the gathering we had last week, we had a perspective from the Germans where, for them, the funding for their political parties, about 30% of them comes from the membership of the party. But in our case, it's often less than 10%. What's the reason? The reason is that the very members of the party are not so empowered. But if we take it upon ourselves as political leaders to identify our people, those in need of scholarships, we use our meager resources to empower them, those in need of support. And when we talk of the support, Accra is different, but when you go to Hinterland, some people need as low as 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 to have a rapid transformation in their lives. So if you sit in Accra and you think that empowerment is about that, it's wrong. We go to the hinterlands, we empower them because these are the people in the masses. If they are so empowered, they become the backbone of the party going forward. And
I see that you're pursuing the grassroots approach. But the claims that you're talking about featured during last weekend's elections. In fact, we understand that there were allegations of vote buying. We can just take excerpts of that report, and then, Doc, I'll come back to you to take your thoughts on that as well.
We know that during such elections, monies play a role.
Yes.
How would you describe this election that took place on Saturday? The monetary aspect of things. Would you say, how big a factor was it?
They all paid. In fact, in terms of the payments ranking, the delegates told me it was one guy who whose money was not coming. I won't mention his name. But already I said that 1,000. I said the whole constituency 1,000. I challenge 50-50 and now
because this time around they didn't give the money to individuals, they gave the money to the constituency.
This time the difference is that no candidate gave money to individuals. And I think that is a very good, even though they still spent, it is better than those days when they were giving it to individuals. Yeah. So now they all, when they visit a constituency, they make sure all the 17 delegates are there. When they are going, then they leave them like 5,000 or 10,000. Then they share.
So every contestant would go and would drop money.
Yeah.
Are we looking for people who have the competence, or we're looking for the person or persons who have the money?
This time, my understanding was that they were helping them defray costs that they too incurred. You know, they too had just come from elections and they had also spent a lot in securing their various constituency positions. So it was more of supporting them in what they have lost.
One delegate, one scholarship to America, meaning say wunu why all mine out to me kwa uba na se offer. Se me diffia mienu ewo akunya so na me ma one delegate, one scholarship wa mumma pam me free office no mumma pam me free akunya.
So yeah, it's funny, but it's getting really serious within the New Patriotic Party. You had there as if someone promising each delegate a scholarship, at least for a relative, if you don't want to take advantage of that opportunity. So, Doc, that's how it's sitting so deep within the New Patriotic Party ranks. The fact that vote buying increasingly is becoming a reality. When you take up the national role, and that's if you're giving the opportunity, how do you intend to reverse the trend?
Well, thank you. I believe that the core of these whole challenges has to do with empowerment. If the people are empowered, I'll tell you, the very people that people think that, oh, these people, if you don't give them money, they can't act. They go to other societies and they rather pay dues to these societies. They go to their churches, they pay dues. They go to landlords association, community association, they pay to support the association. Why? Because they get benefits from these associations. There are some sort of welfare systems in these associations. And so, by empowering them, by rolling out some of these programs we are proposing, we are going to directly be investing in their livelihoods. We are going to be taking their welfare serious. We're going to prioritize their issues. And when that happens, naturally, it wouldn't be about it would rather be about what are you coming to add to what I'm benefiting now? What value are you bringing? Somebody has brought these proposals and I'm benefiting from it. I'm a driver. I didn't have any vehicle. Through the party's business incubation fund, I've been able to acquire a second-hand vehicle and I'm driving it. I'm now a car owner. I was home. I was doing no work. But through the party's business incubation fund, I've been able to get 10,000 support. I've made a container. I've stocked it with 5,000 worth of provisions. I'm now a supermarket or mini market owner. So what are you also bringing to add value to what I have? It's not going to be about money. That's why some of us are very passionate about these programs and policies. These are feasible policies that can be rolled out. These are time-tested policies because other jurisdictions are doing it. And I'm looking forward to a time where the party members will carry it on their shoulders. That, look, you want to seek an office, we don't need your money. In fact, we'll buy fuel for you. Tell us what
you are bringing on board.
And blessed, we will get there.
Yeah, let's see if that will happen within the New Patriotic Party. But 2024 is fast approaching. You would need funds to run the party if indeed you're giving the opportunity. And part of it, the argument, has got to do with the following of the party and the interest of your financiers. The feeling is, giving the account of the NPP's performance within the last 8 or so years, I mean, it's not 8 now, but it will be 8 certainly by 2024. The feeling is you're not as attractive, let me use that word, as attractive as you should be as a political party to win the 2024 elections, particularly by getting more funding and more support from the communities.
I don't know whether you're reading from a different a page of the book or you're reading from a book.
So, it's not my personal opinion. The verdict appears to be out there. You look at the EIU report, for instance. It's saying the NDC has an upper hand over the NPP, for instance. So, naturally, it appears that you don't have a lot of following.
We all know.
But
the reality on the ground is, if you are going that route, then I can tell you that we'll have more money than we need. If it's going to be about our track record, if it's going to be about how attractive the party is, you will certainly be convinced beyond doubt that we'll have more money. A party that is not attractive,
right.
A party that is not attractive will not have thousands of people vying for a few positions in the party. A party that is not attractive will not see this level of enthusiasm right from the polling. Look, see, when you go to the Volta region, one of the regions where we went so
I come from the Volta region, so yeah.
Some years back, when the party was not attractive, we were struggling to get people to even stand. We dash them the position, plus whatever, you come, we weren't getting. But today, one position, you could have as many as 10, 20 people vying for the same position. That talks of an attractive party. I don't know what your definition.
Okay, so let's make it a bit more practical. Let's make it just a minute. Yeah, but let's make it just a minute. Let's paint a picture here. If the NPP were to move out as of today to ask Ghanaians to at least donate 5 Ghana cedis to support the campaign of the NPP, what percentage of the population do you think would support that campaign?
I believe we'll get more than 50%.
Really?
I believe so, strongly. See, NPP as a political organization, whether we are in power or in opposition, we have the capacity to raise at least $60 million each year. I'm sure you're wondering, how are you going to do that? Of course, NDC is ready to pick some advice from all that. But our people know. We've been going around, we've been telling our people how we can raise. And these are very fantastic.
What's the amount again?
At least $60 million. And this has nothing to do with incumbency. $60 million. And out of
wait. That's what you've been raising, or that's what you intend to raise?
See, let me repeat that for emphasis. Direct emphasis. NPP as a political organization has the capacity to raise a minimum of $60 million each year, whether we are in power or in opposition. So definitely that should tell you that this amount of money has nothing to do with incumbency. It has everything to do with the attractiveness of the party. It has everything to do with the cohesion of the party. It has everything to do with the structural integrity and organization of the party. And I'm saying that
$60 million.
With the right set of people at the national office, God willing, when we are voted into office and we come together as a national executive committee, you call me back and say, Doc, you made it.
So that's what you're promising. That's your target.
We have the capacity.
At least $60 million.
And with that, we'll make huge and substantial investment in our party members and empower them right from the grassroots up so that party members will become more responsible towards the party.
Doc, are you not being selfish here? Particularly when the feeling is the wider population, the Ghanaian out there, needs such a critical funding.
Well, but you see, I am seeking to get into an office for a particular, within a particular parameter, you understand? So it's different. If I am sick, if I've been posted to China to serve the government, I'm serving the larger interest of Ghanaians. When I was in China, my doors were open to all, NDC, MPP, everybody, because I was there for a particular reason. And the reason required me to be open to everybody. Now I'm seeking to go into my political office, and it requires me to take care of my political folks. So if we have the capacity to raise $60 million, well, maybe at that point,
why are you getting that money from? I mean, and you know the obvious debate that will follow thereafter. The fact that, well, if it's not corrupt funding, where else could it be coming from?
That is why I laid emphasis, and I'll repeat, whether we are in government or in opposition, we have the capacity to raise a minimum of $60 million. And with that money, blessed, we will do a lot for our people. And our party will become so strong, so strong, because we will have an empowered base. Our party members, be they serial callers, be they communicators, be they polling station executive members, non-polling station executive members, every card-bearing member who is active and in good standing will stand to benefit from this. And we will all move together to make the party stronger so that 2024, we will break the 8 and go beyond. Because we need that as a country. We owe it to this country to ensure that we do everything we can to make sure the party retains power so we can build the country past the lentil level. And then anybody who comes, you can play, as we say, chaskele with the development of the country.
But anyway, Doc, that will be all the time that allows for this very conversation. But I'm sure that by now you start getting calls from delegates asking you for their share of the 60 million US dollars before it comes. But anyway, let's see what happens at the National Delegates Conference. Is happening in the Greater Accra region, or we're not too sure? Oh, okay, the Greater Accra region. So we'll see how that will go.
Right.
But let's see. We can only hope. Fear delegates anyway. Yes, let's see what happens.
You fear them, but delegates are also very discerning. They know what is good. They know quality. Right. We always say that it's the telestai.
And you are quality? You are quality?
Proven track record.
Right.
Unsoiled integrity.
That's what you're saying.
Experience.
Right.
It takes relevant experience to be able to merge it. It's not just about having a banking degree. It's not just about having a finance degree. It's not just about having an MBA. It takes relevant experience. Something about politics. Something about human relations. Right. So you don't just say.
So it's a whole lot.
It's a whole lot. You pull everything together. You don't. People know. You don't just turn overnight because you want a power and then you start being nice to people.
Okay then.
Yeah.
But well, Doc, that's all time that allows. I'm grateful that you've been able to
Thank
join
you for having me here.
Well,
I love the studio.
Yeah, thank you. Let's stay on the New Patriotic Party, because the newly elected chairperson of the New Patriotic Party in the North East region, Nuruddin Hussaini, says the party has no option but to elect Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as the leader and flag bearer of the party for the next general elections. Now, according to him, all indications within the party across the country now show that Dr. Bawumia is the most favorable candidate for the next flag bearership position based on his hard work and commitment to the party.
After a successful party election, the chairman of the New Patriotic Party in the Northeast region, Nuruddin Hussaini, who was re-elected to serve a second term, led his newly elected executives to pay a courtesy call on the overlord and king of Mampulgu, as tradition demands, to thank the king and his elders for the outcome of the exercise over the weekend. As a sign of peace and unity, the executives were accompanied by some of the losing aspirants and their supporters. At the Chief Palace, the chairman introduced and presented the new executives to the king and his elders and gave a briefing on the entire process, which he said was conducted freely and fairly. The overlord expressed his excitement with the way and manner the party leadership and supporters conducted themselves throughout this process, and congratulated them for a successful election exercise. He said to the chairman that his re-election showed the party supporters were satisfied with his performance and encouraged him to do more to achieve the agenda of his party. The overlord, however, reminded the chairman of the task ahead of him to ensure the unity and progress of the party. The new executives were accompanied by several youth groups and ordinary supporters of the party.
We ladies, we are more than the men, so we make sure that we mobilize the women to come out and support the chairman and the executives in the region to help the government to break the 8.
The newly elected women organizer Humu Sanda also spoke to JoyNews.
Our mission is even to break the 8. So we are going to make sure that we create more youth groups, women groups, men groups, to do all what we can do to be able to break the 8, so that our vice presidents will be the future president.
The chairman also visited the chief of Gambaga and the imam of the town to show his appreciation for their prayers and blessings. Speaking to JoyNews after the visit, the chairman thanked the supporters of the party in the region and announced his intention to embark on a thank you tour as part of the rebuilding and reconciliation process.
Well, so joining us via Zoom now is Dr. Evans. We're now joined by the Director of Elections, actually, of the New Patriotic Party, Evans Nemako. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. So it's a wrap for almost all the places except the central region. Do we know right now what the headway is and what's going to happen in the coming days? You'd have to unmute for us so we can hear you.
Well, my brother, thank you for having me. The party leadership is in discussion with all critical stakeholders, and so soon the issue about the conflict will be done, and the good people of Central Region will have the annual delegate conference for the new Patriotic Party organized, so that the party will have the opportunity of electing their leaders to steer the affairs of the party and manage the agenda towards the victory 2024.
Are there some timelines perhaps that you're working with?
Within the week, once we are almost done with all except Central Region, that will tell you that every attention and focus is on Central Region. So all those who need to be in the know for now are aware of what must be done. We are in the hands of the courts, so we are waiting to make sure that the issue in court is settled, and then we will have the next line of action to pursue.
Even before we get into the schedule and the grand plan of the new Patriotic Party going forward, I'm sure that you've been monitoring and receiving reports on the just ended exercise across the various regions. What's your impression, and having read all the reports that are coming to your table now, what's your impression about the weekend's exercise?
Well, I don't want to be judgmental. I will leave those ones to you and the good people across the regions who monitored and gave a fee. But I think that as a party, the elections committee has done a human job. The comportment of all candidates who went through the process, the enthusiasm, the will to support and work for the new Patriotic Party, the composer and the organization of the conference has been enormous. But I'm so appreciative to all delegates who moved across the regions to settle in their venues to have these regional conferences done. I mean, you're looking at all polling station constituency executives in the region, council of elders and patrons, our national council representatives, our members of parliament attending such a conference in the region as the highest decision-making body in the region. And so the caliber of people who attended this conference will let you know that the new Patriotic Party is poised for victory 2024, and the beginning of this journey started very well with the conduct of polling station elections, electoral coordinators elections, and then the constituency. Just over this weekend, with the support of you, the media, the electoral commission, who has the mandate to supervise the conduct of this election, and the Ghana Police Service, we've been able to once again conduct a very successful internal elections. We are looking forward, come July 14 to 17, to organize the annual National Delegate Conference. And for national delegates,
right? I was just about going into that because in terms of the modalities, there's some guidelines that you're putting across now, because it's about to get intense. The fact that more and more persons who are jostling for the various positions will now crisscross the country trying to win the favor of delegates ahead of that exercise. So, have you firmed up the modalities for the exercise?
Well, the food is still being prepared, so take it easy. It is going to be interesting. What the party leadership has put together is to have a very strong body to organize the conference. We are looking at very senior party members to constitute the elections committee. There will also be an organizational committee that will ensure that all grounds work are well catered for. We're going to have all delegates from constituencies per our party constitution. All constituency executives are delegates to the conference. All regional executives are delegates to the conference. National council members are delegates. Our external branches are coming with their delegates, as well as council of elders and patrons. So it's going to be a very big congregation of delegates of the party across the globe. And so we are looking at having a very successful conference, and I can assure you, once again, the New Patriotic Party will go beyond the header and how this is done.
And what's critical now is to resolve the faults and the little concerns that are emerging within the ranks of the party. You've seen some of the reports over the weekend about vote buying in some candidates as well, not being happy about the entire process. How do you intend to unite your front, try and, close the gaps, hear the concerns of those who are aggrieved going forward?
Well, I have not received yet the official report of all the elections committee. You know that we've done, 15 out of the 16 we are left to Central Region. So when the party has received official report of the elections committee, party leadership will consider it. 2, the issue about vote buying has not come to my attention. I have also not received an official petition from any of such candidates you are telling me I agree by the conduct of our conference. Before conferences commenced, the party had put together the Cecilia Bland-Dapa committee responsible for dispute resolution and legal support to work through all the challenges some of the prospective guys had brought before it. The party again put together the Damboche committee assisted by Honorable S.K. Boafo, Dr. Clifford Brahma, Kwebia Fai of the party headquarters as Director of Protocol, lawyer John Sopoku Boateng, and Alhaji Muhammad Ibi. And they have sat, and even when people felt that there were some challenges in some regions, they were able to have the discourse with the Regional Elections Committee, and it's accounted for the successes we've chalked in just this weekend. And so the party will continue to put in place mechanisms and arrangements that will ensure that our internal organization are well managed and well executed.
Okay, so let's be clear on that. July for National Delegates Conference, and then beyond that, what's next?
The timeline given by the National Council for now is to seal our internal elections for the national officers elections in July 14 to 17, all things being equal.
Yeah, but I'm asking beyond that.
Beyond that, the National Executive Committee and National Council will then come up. I know you are eager to find out when we are doing our...
You are being preemptive a lot today, but it appears you're also waiting and anxious to see what the end process will be for your reorganization as well, I guess.
Well, to save the situation, the National Party leadership will soon come out when we are done with the internal officers elections with the date for parliamentary and presidential candidate elections. That is yet to come.
Right. We'll wait for that. And as you're indicating to me, let's wait. The food is still being prepared. But thank you, Evans Nemeko, for spending some time with us. He's the Director of Elections for the New Patriotic Party. You're still with us here on The Pulse on the Joy News channel. We'll return shortly after this break. And you're welcome back. Now, JoyNews checks have revealed that 166 million cedis worth of soybeans and other grains were exported from Chereponi in the northeast region to neighboring Togo, Nigeria, and Benin. The Agric Ministry last year placed a temporary ban on the export of grains as a measure to protect the collapsing poultry industry. In our latest upcoming Hotline documentary, Broken Chain, JoyNews reports the poor roads in Chereponi are contributing to the flight of grains illegally to neighboring countries. There's more in this for you.
According to data from the District Agric Office in Chereponi, in January 2021, 1.6 million cedi worth of soya beans was transported to Togo and Nigeria. In February, the figure shot up to 2.3 million cedis. In March, the tons exported through Chereponi was 2.2 million Ghana cedis. In April, it was 1.6 million Ghana cedis and saw a decline in May, which recorded 635,000 cedis of soya beans being sent to Togo. But cumulatively, the metric tons of maize, rice, millet, soya beans, cowpea and sesame transported to Togo and Nigeria stood at over 166 million cedis. District Agric Director at Terepone, Pascal Asigri, says this can be reversed if the roads connecting the district to local markets are put in good condition.
Yes, so there's no doubt that the condition of the road from Yendi to Terepone affects the movement of agricultural produce from the districts to larger markets in places like Tamale, Ejura, Techiman, and many more markets in Ghana. Closer to the district is an alternative market avenue in Togo that both farmers and aggregators have been exploiting for a number of years now. Togo is about 20 kilometers from the district, and because of that, aggregators who are sometimes Togolese, other aggregators are also people from Terepone, find it very comfortable moving food stuff towards the Togo end instead of the Ghana end. I am of the firm belief that if the road is in good condition, a greater portion of the foodstuff that we produce in Terepone would move towards the Ghana end to larger markets, as I mentioned earlier, than the current state where most of the foodstuff produced in Terepone is heading towards the Togo end because of the condition.
Excerpts of our upcoming and latest documentary, Broken Chain, airing tonight at 8:30 p.m. on the JoyNews channel. You do want to make a date. Now, the Rural Water Development Program is sinking 50 boreholes for some deprived communities in 8 districts in the OT and northern region of Ghana. So far, over 15 boreholes have been sunk, with the rest expected to be done by the end of November. One beneficiary community is the Jahafo Do, a community where residents are saying that since the inception of that community, they are having the first ever intervention from the Water Development Authority. Now, the community is in the Nanumba North municipality of the northern region.
The farming community is saddled with several development challenges ranging from bad roads, no clinic, no electricity, no water, neither do they have schools. Tens of empty plastic jugs, bucket, basins, among others, are lined up at the site where the drilling is taking place, with residents hovering expectantly for the first splash of water. Hannah Tidosa is a resident. She had gone to the Handak pond to fetch water. Halfway through the journey, she hears shouts of joy indicating the borehole drillers have hit water. Without thinking, she pours away the water that used to be gold to her. A new sign of hope is here in the community. She has the opportunity now to taste fresh, clean water.
We are fetching dirty water into the riverside. Now that we get borehole water, we pour the dirty water and collect the good water. Now we are now free. When you go to farm, you will be free. You will not be saying that today I don't have water, today I don't have water. Now we get good water to drink.
It was therefore not surprising when the community members welcomed donors of the borehole in a grand style. Gillian Kelly is with Healing Hands International, one of the donors of the project, and she said it was fulfilling to know they have touched the lives of some people.
It's an incredible experience to be able to witness that water really does change lives. We know that water is life, but to be able to see that and to witness it coming out of the ground and to know that it will change the lives of the people in this community is such a blessing from God, and we are so thankful to be a part of that.
Executive Director of the Ghana West African Mission, Ricky McWalter, said it was a great feeling of success and gratification knowing that they are transforming communities.
So exactly, it's a tremendous feeling of success and gratification knowing that these communities like this will have clean water that will transform their lives for a long, long time. It's such a blessing to be part of that process.
Chief Executive Officer of the Rural Water Development Project in Ghana, Nathaniel Adams Jr. said they were not just providing water but also empowering communities to develop themselves.
We today are launching a 50 borehole project within the Eastern Corridor, a project that is going to cost us over $300,000 US. These boreholes are going to be both installed with hand pumps and some mechanized. And these are going to be for communities along the Eastern Corridor belts. The project, as we launch it, has taken off, and as we do the line today, we are about 15 out of the 50 boreholes drilled and counting, ongoing. So this community is one of the communities we've selected to do the launch. The communities have been selected through the national system. We have the district assemblies within the corridor writing to give the list, out of which an assessment is done, selections are done, geophysics are done, and drilling is done. When we do the drilling, what we do in addition to this is to build the capacity of the community. We form what we call Watson committees in the community. We also train what we call the pump caretakers, who are able to assess the borehole time and time to know when problems are coming, so we could stop it or maintain it before it becomes worse.
And now the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association has alleged corrupt practices in the recent postings of nurses is becoming a problem. The Ashanti Regional Chairperson, Jones Efriye Anto, says some unscrupulous staff at the Ministry of Health have manipulated the posting system to the benefit of others illegally. Speaking at the Regional Nurses and Midwives Week celebration, he claimed some nurses awaiting postings had to pay about 2,500 Ghana cedis to be posted.
Nurses constitute about 70% of health workers in Ghana. Ashanti Regional Chairman of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association says posting of nurses has become problematic despite the implementation of a computerized system. Jones Efriye Anto claims the system is corrupt to the extent that nurses ready to work for the government have to pay bribes to gain employment.
The challenges with posting is that, like I said, the nursing is a ranked profession. When I say ranked profession, it means like military system. Somebody says seniority is well respected and everything. So when we complete school, the only thing that would be the difference between me and you is for you to pass the licensure or not. Once I write the licensure and I pass in a particular year with you, if we are being employed, then that batch should be employed. What is happening in the human resource system because of corruption is now that you may be in my year group, then they said no clients for us, no clients for us, we are not being. Then somebody like 2019 may not be employed, but somebody 2021, if you pay, they employ you. And we train them, so we know them. And they are in the system. Somebody's my mate, I'm in the house, he is working. Meanwhile, after 3 years or 5, he's going to be promoted. And so when I even join, it means my mate will be a senior whilst I am there.
The association is unhappy with the government's lackadaisical attitude in cancelling the certificate in nursing program. The association says the 2-year certificate in nursing program puts the noble profession in shambles and endangers the health of Ghanaians. They are therefore calling for an immediate cessation.
Nursing is the pivot of the health sector. Nursing, you see, in the hospital setting, even the ward that you know, though nursing is not just ward, the ward that you know, it is the nurse who is supposed to identify something and alert the health team, including some other nurses, to come and intervene in your patient. So when you train somebody 2 years and put him there, especially when the same person is qualified to be trained for 4 years for degree. So you train the person fully 4 years for degree, you pay him well, and he works for you. What is happening now is that you train somebody, you call him certificate, then 2 years, though he qualifies to do degree, he comes back to you again for study leave to go and do diploma. He comes back to you again for study leave to go and do degree. But the person comes, You have overspent on even that person. So do that. Apart from that, even if we think that people with diploma and certificate cannot teach our children, do you think that people with diploma and certificate should be allowed to nurse us?
The acting president of the Offensive Traditional Council, Nana Kweku Dua II, admonished the nurses to be duty conscious to execute their mandate. He admonished them to uphold the integrity of the profession.
At the workplace or the bedside, we find some of the nurses WhatsApping, Facebooking. It's important that as professionals, we approach our work with professionalism.
Ewukuma Leaks report for JoyNews.
And that's all we have for you in this package of the polls. I am blessed Sogah. To log on to myjoyonline.com. We have more stories for you there.